Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we have a braid back style on my preteen Mila. You guys haven't seen her in a while. I did do a video on why she was not in my chair as often, but we are here today and we're going to be doing some design straight backs that you guys have been seeing now for some time if you're like active on Instagram or anywhere else. So at the first thing I normally would do is a straight back part, but right now I'm just gonna start with the first layer. So when I do straight backs, if they're gonna be really, really small, I do love to do one layer of knotless braids. This layer is going to add volume. It's going to release the neck from being too much tension on your nape and the hair in the back of your neck. And also, if you have a small neckline, it's going to give you more space so that all the braids coming from the front to the back is not all jumbled up on each other. It's not like fighting for space back there because you kind of gave it a little bit more room. So based on the size of the straight backs that I'm gonna do, I only need really like 4 knotless braids back here. But if you plan to do it smaller or bigger, you can change the range of the size of the braid that you're doing in the back to fit the straight backs. Make sure to keep that in mind, guys. So sometimes you want to do that first row and then you just start braiding and you're not thinking about, oh, but what about the size of my braids? Are they going to match the size of these plaits that you're putting in? So keep that in mind when you're doing your plaits to ensure that they are the same size, because it's going to look really awkward once you start braiding your braids back and your braids are either super big or they are extremely small, and then you got the different size laying under them. So I only did 4 knotless braids in the back, and then I'm gonna jump into that middle part and then just start braiding this style for you guys. And as you guys can see, her hair color is so difficult to find, but I know a few of you either have children or your own hair is this color, which is like a sandy brown, sandy blonde, or ash brown color. And the hair color that I'm using is number 6 from Rua Hair. Surprisingly, my hair store sells it. That is the lightest color that they sell. Her hair is probably like a 10. A perfect match to her hair would be a 10, but this 6 matches great as well because once I put the jam on her natural hair, it kind of darkens it a little bit. So right now it looks perfect and it's fitting in great. But once it dries and lightens up a bit, like at the top, it does have a different color. So now I'm going into my middle part. And you guys already know I normally start with this to begin with, but I got comfortable and I started with the first back layer. And once I got the middle part out the way, I'm going into just doing some curve, you guys. And that's not much. I am doing these as stitch braids, and the stitch braids are going to one side. So there is a little bit of teaching in that. But for the most part, this is just design braids, and this is to just give you guys an idea of what you can do, or just give you a style idea if you want to switch it up and try something new, try something different. Again, if you are on Instagram and you're following the braid world for new styles, I'm pretty sure you've seen these styles popping up often. And sometimes I do like to kind of follow the trend because I know people want to know how to do certain things. Sometimes I can't keep up because, I got other stuff going on. But this is something that I see a lot of the girls rocking, and, summer is coming up. So this is a great way to show you guys how it's done. So this is no particular pattern. I'm just creating this pattern, but this kind of style is what is going on. So right now I am braiding her hair and I starting out with stitches, but the thing about it is I'm braiding to one side. So normally when I stitch on the right, stitch on the left, and the braid is in the middle. But for this style, the braid is completely on one side of the section. So basically, I'm pulling the braid towards the line. So this does make stitching a little bit easier, a little bit faster, because I only have to worry about stitching one side, and it just makes it go super fast. So if you were worried about the speed at which I'm going, or if I'm pulling extremely tight, this is what normal speed looks like, guys. This is how I'm braiding in normal speed time. I speed up the video. I think this video is sped up times 3, but this is how I braid, slow as hell. But I have to just get it right. You guys know the whole perfectionist thing. And yeah, also I have to be careful because I don't want to pull her hair too tight. Her hair is pretty fine and very sensitive. So when I'm braiding her, I do have to pay extra precaution to not pull in too tight on her edges, or her hair will break, and we're trying to avoid those type of things. So now I'm parting the other braid, and basically I'm going in the opposite direction. So this style is all about kind of like doing this one way, opposite way, one way, opposite way, but also putting the braid itself on one section of one side of the section. So yeah, pretty much not much to really talk about this style. Is just kind of like a look and learn if you're looking for a new style to implement on your kids or on your client, and how it's done. I can go into a little bit more details on the braiding and the stitching, but once I start adding the stitches, guys, I'm adding, once I make the stitch with my pinky finger, I'm basically adding that entire stitch into one leg. So I'm not splitting it or anything. If you're a braider, try to picture this. So typically when you braid, especially if I'm braiding in the middle and I start stitching, I go about putting a stitch. I break the stitch in half and I put it into one leg, and then I go on the other side, I stitch and I put that into another leg. So when you're braiding, you have 3 legs that you're braiding with. When I'm doing this style and I'm putting the entire braid on one end, to keep all my legs equal, I just, for every stitch that I do, I put the entire thing on one leg. I do not split it. I just keep it on one leg, and then at every turn I interchange it to the other one. So I know I don't, maybe I can slow this down after the voiceover just to kind of show you guys what I'm talking about. But once I get started, I make the little triangle in the front. I get started braiding, and you see I have 3 legs that I'm switching out. And once I do the stitch, I put it onto one leg. Do another stitch, I put it into one leg. So typically, if I'm doing something like this, I would split that. But I'm not splitting it at all. Even when I get back where it's a little bit thicker than what it is in the front, I still do not split it. I continue on. Even when I add hair and keep braiding, once I stitch and place it in between my thumb and my pointer, I'm adding it to only one leg at a time. So that is going to keep your legs equal, and is just such an easier way, and it also keeps the stitches to be a little bit more pronounced and seen. And so that is one lesson that I could talk about for you guys. But again, like I said, this is not really something that is such a design that you can't accomplish. This is even really simple compared to some of the designs I've seen, which gets really crazy, but it's absolutely beautiful. But I like to keep it a little bit simple, especially for her, because it looks smooth sometimes on camera, but sometimes we going through especially with her and the baby girl. Like sometimes we're just tired and we don't want to like do too much, and I don't want to complicate it too much and be in their hair all day doing braids, because yeah, we don't, kids are kids, they don't really like getting their hair done that often. But I believe I've taught most of what I could teach in this video, but if I continue to watch on and I see something that I could speak about, I'll go ahead and jump back in. But I'm going to let the music play out for most of the rest of the video unless I see something that's happening that I want to explain to you guys. So continue to watch just in case I jump back in just to say, hey, in do this in case of that or whatever. So yeah, I'm just gonna be quiet for a little bit. It's almost done playing out. The style is almost complete. And yeah, well, let me add one more thing. As you guys can see, for the most part, I didn't add that much hair while I'm braiding down, and I added most of the hair or bulk of the hair to the end to make the braid continue to be thick at the end. So I did add a few strands throughout braiding her hair, but it wasn't that much because I didn't want the hair to be that thick. So I ended up adding most of the hair to make it thick at the end in order for the braids to all be the same size and to fall at the same length. And as you guys can see right here, I wanted to curl the end of her hair, so I went ahead and tied a knot off instead of gluing it or burning it or doing anything or braiding it all the way out because I wanted to curl the end. I actually did not end up curling the end, but that was the idea initially, was to curl it. So I always like to tie it off. So I pull a few strands off of the braiding and I just kind of wrap it around and do a double knot, and that ties it off. And once you dip it, you won't have to worry about it coming loose or unraveling. Okay, so I'm almost finished, and to top it off, I'm gonna go in with the Cara Care mousse, and this is a foam wrapping mousse. So this is going to one, relieve her head. Everybody loves this part because your head has been so tender with the braids, and now you're getting some type of release with the foam and like just having it on your scalp and just the coldness and everything. Everybody loves that. So I went ahead and put the foam on her head, and now I'm just gonna wrap it and then I'm gonna blow dry it out. I'm gonna dip the ends of her hair. Like I said before, I was supposed to curl it, but we ended up not curling it and leaving it straight, which still end up to be cute. It was a little different, but it still was cute to me and her. So, and then now I'm spraying some oil. This is the Tropical Roots oil that I used to use a long time ago. And yeah, it's gonna put some smell into her hair, put some shine into her hair. And this is the final look, you guys. Like I said, I kept it real simple, but for the most part, this is kind of like the style that's going around. I really kept it simple. I didn't do too much, but she loved it. She got a lot of compliments on it, and this is how it turned out. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. If I was able to teach you anything in this video, go ahead and drop a comment. Go ahead and like the video if you watched the entire thing, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.